Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. Curry, one-on-one on Irving, puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown. The three, steps back, crossover, puts up a three. Rebound James, second. It's over. It's over. Cleveland is a city of champions once again. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.
Cleveland, this is for you.
What's going on, Cavs fans? Welcome back to another exciting edition from the season opener of the Block the Shot to Stop, a Cleveland Cavaliers podcast covering the team. I'm Skylar Webker. He's Kevin Lynch. And Kevin, we have finally have real basketball back. It's been a long time, a long off season, but we are back.
We are back. We're watching Jalen Brunson shoot free throws for 2 hours. We're getting frustrated at refs. We're getting frustrated at shot selection. I think some Cavs fans have already found a couple of Cavs players that they're blaming the loss and maybe the season on already. We are cooking. I'm telling you.
No doubt. Around here, we are dads talking Cavs. Obviously, we're dads first. And I wanted to kind of give a moment to shine some light on the dads. Let's hear the dad win or the dad fail. Something you got as far as a pro tip as being a dad.
So I forgot about this, and you sent me the note at least yesterday, maybe 2 days ago, and didn't come up with a story, but I came up with one 10 seconds ago. And it is, so my daughter's very interested in our podcast. Like if everyone was as interested as she was, it'd be a great thing. But she decided she wants to do a Maddie Daddy podcast. And we have done 8, 9, 10 episodes of a podcast at my desk with all the podcast equipment set up, but I have never hit record once. To her, and she thinks as soon as you record a podcast, it just goes out on the internet and you never see it again. And so, a pro tip, and with technology, phones, really whatever, if your child wants to do something like podcast, something where they want to be online, if you literally just turn the camera on and tell them you're doing it, they don't know any better. So to her, she is a budding podcast star, but in reality, she has never had 1 second of video put out on the internet.
That's incredible. That's the parent edition of like handing your brother the controller and it's not plugged in. Be like, yeah, you're playing.
Yes. Right. That's exactly right. It's the modern day version of what they used to do to us as kids.
I think my pro dad tip is if you have a young kid like I do, Halloween is kind of a weird time. We didn't really get to do trick-or-treating or anything last year because I don't know, you get the fights for the costume and just like the uncomfortableness around it. So the pro tip is do it early. Find somebody doing a trick-or-treating event ahead of whenever your neighborhood trick-or-treat is. Give them the practice run, get the tantrums over with early. And then once they start getting the candy and start getting through it, all right, he's ready. He's ready for next week when we have real trick-or-treating.
Yeah, no, I think honestly, you could equate that to every avenue of parenting. Be early. Like, don't ever take an 8 p.m. flight thinking my kids will just sleep on the flight. They won't, and they will be miserable. Take the 6 a.m. one, 8 a.m. one, whatever. Go if you promise them to go to the trampoline park, be the first one in the door. You don't want to be there at noon when the birthday parties are going on and everything. So honestly, I think you stepped on the best parenting tip, and that's like, be early, get it done, get it out of the way, have the kids happy, get them tired, and go home.
Yeah, no doubt. And he was tired and ready to watch the Cavs, or ready to watch Dad watch the Cavs. So opening night, Cavs fall to the Knicks, 111-119. What are some things that you liked in this game? Obviously, it's hard to judge a team by one appearance.
For sure. I mean, I like the third quarter. That's the first thing I would say. Donovan Mitchell came out just absolutely cooking. I think he had on our playback stream, I think I said it was like 5-6 minutes. It was halfway through the quarter. he had 14 points and then 2 assists on Sam Merrill threes, accounting for all 20 points that the Cavs had those first 6 months. They outscored the Knicks 37-22 that quarter. Even when Mitchell came out, they brought in some guys, Larry Nance Jr., Tyrese Proctor, that played like quality minutes, continue to cut into that gap. And so like the first thing I would say off my head is just the performance in the third quarter, like responding to the first adversity of the season where they frankly got outplayed in the first half. The one other thing I would say that comes to mind is I liked how Evan Mobley started the game.
Okay.
When he started the game, first half, even when the Cavs weren't playing as well, I'm like, this is everything they've talked about the offseason, that his confidence is up. He's rounded out his offensive skill sets. He's like the big man on campus, Kenny called him. And he is ready to just be the best player on the floor all the time. Then, unfortunately, like it happened too many times last year, he kind of disappeared for large chunks of the second half, even when they were coming back. So those are the first two things. I like a lot of Evan Mobley's game, particularly the first half, and then the way they responded to the first adversity of the year, the way they came out of halftime and played that third quarter, namely Donovan Mitchell and Sam Merrill, I thought was really, really good.
Yeah, I had in my notes that Sam Merrill had a great night. I mean, he finished. Where did he finish? 16 points, 19 points. Finished 19 points on the night.
Yep.
And looks good, looks solid. That's kind of what you want from Sam Merrill. I mean, especially when obviously he's always going to be tied to the contract that they gave him, the contract, not tied to Rome and anything like that. So to see him go out there and perform at a high level is very encouraging. You hope you get maybe not 19 points a night, but some level of that consistency. The other person I had written down Lonzo Ball impacted the game, not particularly in the scoring piece, but the rebounds, the playmaking, those pieces were out there for sure. And I really liked, when I wrote that down, he was 5 and 5. What did he finish at?
It was 4 and 6.
4 and
I think
6.
they changed the rebound. So 4 rebounds, 6 assists is what they finished at.
Yeah. So you think the scoring will come around? I mean, I doubt he'll go 1 for 7 every night, but I liked that out there for sure.
Yeah. I thought Lonzo looked really comfortable, really athletic, slid his feet really well on the defensive end, couldn't buy a shot, but that's going to happen on nights, especially when you've played as little as he has the last few years. He's not going to be in the best rhythm shooting the ball every night. But there were other good things. I thought a couple of guys off the bench, Lonzo would have been one I said. I actually was going to highlight like Dean Wade and Larry Nance Jr. I thought both gave really good minutes. They both finished with 10 points. Both played really, really well defensively. When Jalen Tyson got in foul trouble, I thought it was really interesting. They put Dean Wade on Jalen Brunson for long stretches there in the second half. The trust in that, and we talked about last season, Dean Wade's defense is so underrated. He's incredible, but just the faith they have in him to guard a Jalen Brunson, who's a foot shorter, and you would think a lot, quicker and craftier. And Dean did a pretty good job. He did accidentally breathe on him a couple times and end up with fouls, but yeah, I mean, there was a lot of stuff to like. And I'll see you have I'll let you go because you're Mr. Positive. You give one more thing you like, and then we'll talk about the things that weren't quite up to stuff tonight.
I really liked. Well, I guess I have 2 things written down. I really liked Larry Nance's impact off the bench. Yeah. Every now and then, there are players that I love their game. Jordan Clarkson's one of them. I loved Jordan Clarkson's game, not particularly tonight, but loved his game in Utah. Loved it when he was in Cleveland. Loved it when he was in LA. And Larry Nance is another guy that I just love his game. Every play is 100% effort. He digs out rebounds. He was hitting threes. I just love Larry Nance's just game, and his impact was very well felt tonight. And the other positive I had is a lot of man defense versus last year. We saw a lot of zone defense. It seems like a focal point that we saw in the preseason it's kind of coming through into the regular season where a lot of focus on kind of different defensive scheming to not be a one-trick pony once the playoffs come, hopefully. And I assume that's what the direction that Kenny's going.
For sure. I mean, I agree with all that. There's a lot of positives to take out of tonight. There's some negatives, and before there's a couple. We'll call out a few, like whether it's players or strategies that we didn't like and everything. But the first thing I didn't like is something that we already knew. It's just different when you actually see it in a live game. It's like the lack of the lack of creativity and the lack of like ability to take guys one-on-one and set up the offense, the lack of ball handling and playmaking that they have right now with Darius Garland out, with Max Strus, who's super crafty, with obviously DeAndre Hunter also was not out tonight. So you knew that part of the team was going to be a little thin, especially compared to last year. Tonight and going forward especially at least until we get Darius back. But you saw tonight, they did not look nearly as organized as they did virtually all the time last year on offense, and had like just a plan that they just executed over and over and over again. Tonight was a little bit more of a struggle. So that I think that was the biggest thing I would say.
Yeah, I have a couple of different bads in tonight, but I do have Zach NBA. He's here in the chat over here on playback. We're gonna get him onto the stage. So Zach, make your way onto the stage, and I want to make sure to give him an opportunity to go over the goods that he saw before we start really getting into the bads, because I have quite a few bads to get into.
Yeah. Well, while we're getting Zach up here, I can throw one more good thing that I'm surprised we didn't touch on. Like, I thought Tyrese Proctor showed himself incredibly well for first game of his NBA career being in Madison Square Garden. Obviously not a super heralded player, being the 49th pick in the draft, is as high as the Cavs have been on him and everything. So him coming in, and I thought he acquitted himself very well, looked very comfortable in such a, high intensity environments and everything. And his numbers were good. Don't necessarily jump off the page. I just liked the way he played and carried himself and the confidence he kind of showed tonight. Hey, Zach.
Hey,
What's going on, man? Thank you for joining us tonight.
happy to be here.
Yeah.
And do the thing. I don't know what
How'd you like my Tyrese Proctor filler talk while you were trying to figure out how to get on stage?
There was more Tyrese Proctor than I expected to have, both watching the game tonight and listening to you talk about the game tonight. So,
well, we'd
I think
already
it was
done
the
our
fitting
highlights. We'd already done our highlights. So, yeah, man. As Skylar said, we gave we always like to start out with positives, and there was definitely some positives from the game tonight. And whether it's anything, if you did hear us at the top of the show, or you have something different, like what's a couple of things that you saw tonight that you liked?
I didn't like a lot of anything tonight.
I had a
aside
feeling
from-
you were going to say that. What's happened to you, Zach? What's
Well-
happened? Who hurt you?
Donovan Mitchell hurt me. No, the highlight of my night was whatever I was on. I had Blue Sky and X Twitter, the X Twitter machine, both open at the same time. And on one of them, I said something about, is Donovan Mitchell even playing tonight? That was like right before halftime. And on the other one, I responded to...
He heard you, by the way.
That's literally... So I had responded to Bob Schmidt, who does Fear the Fro, and he said something... It was one of those like, what do you want to see them do in the second half? And I said, my feedback was essentially, I would like them to have a little bit less just give Evan Mobley the ball and tell him to go force something for himself. And I would like Donovan Mitchell to do anything that Donovan Mitchell normally does. And then he comes out and does what he did in the third quarter. And that was Bob's exact response. He heard you, and I was good. So I'm going to take personal credit for the one-man Cavalanche
As you should. As you should. You deserve it.
It was me. I did that. But apparently I wasn't mean enough because they still lost, and it was a short-lived series of moments by Donovan Mitchell. No, everything felt kind of just off from the tip. And even Evan Mobley, who put up good counting stats in the first half, I felt like everything was forced. Everything was he was playing like a guy who has heard all summer that he needs to be the best player on the Cavs for them to win a championship, and he was going to come out and be the best player on the Cavs. And I kind of just wanted them to try to run something to get him an easy look or two, as opposed to having best player on the Cavs be give him the ball and make him go do stuff. He did some stuff. It just, like I said, it felt forced. It didn't feel like anything was in the flow. And I felt like on defense, he was even, I don't want to say he was like a step slow, or maybe he was just a beat off on defense, like reaching for balls that I feel like he would normally get a hand on, and he was just late trying to get to him, contesting shots that I felt like he would normally, get a finger on or get a good contest. And, he's fouling a jump shooter. It just was just a beat off. And I thought he was kind of a microcosm of what they ended up being, was essentially just kind of off.
So that's something that I had in my bads list was this team is sorely missing Darius Garland, but not only just Darius Garland, like somebody that can like run the offense, not just be the scorer, not just be like Donovan Mitchell has to be the scorer. Evan Mobley has to be the best player. It seemed like they're missing that, just somebody to fluidly run this offense. And part of that could be that they've had a lot of practices with Darius Garland lately, who's kind of getting himself back into form and back into shape. No real timeline on that yet, but it does sound like he's like ahead of what they thought, but nobody wants to commit to any timeline at all. So
he said he had a date in his head, but he wasn't going to tell us what it was.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you. It was just a lot of dysfunctional offense. Everything was hard, and they couldn't get anything going to the rim no matter what. And Mitchell's usually the guy that you can get to put pressure on the rim, and he can even do it himself. But even when he had it going, that's not how it was going. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He was getting to his mid-range pull-up, and he was hitting threes from the parking lot, and that's fun, a lot of fun, but it wasn't you can't do that the whole game, and they didn't really have anything else that they could go to when he wasn't doing that. And part of that is, being down 2 starters, but and that's going to happen. But it was a disappointing feeling just watching them make a run and get back into it, just for the Knicks to stretch it back out again and playing that yo-yo game or slinky game the entire time.
Yeah, that's kind of how it went. So you touched on with the Evan Mobley thing, and I agree with you on Evan. I think he's the number one example, but I'd stretch it to the whole team. I said it seemed like so much of what they're doing offensively was like they were pre-planning everything they were going to do instead of just playing instinctually, playing inside of a strategy and then playing instincts. I think Evan was the best example of it. He felt like he had to go out and like prove himself, prove that he, made all of these off-season like improvements and growth in his game. He had to prove it, in the first 6 minutes of the season. The couple other things I want to mention and let you guys throw in. I'll throw it to you next, Skylar. The 2 things I didn't like the most. One, the free throw disparity, which you can certainly blame puts a blame on the refs. By the way, it was 36-18. The Knicks had twice as many free throws. So I do think some of that was the way the game was called and a little bit of home cooking for the Knicks. I do think there was plenty of opportunities the Cavs shied away from taking the ball strong to the rim. Mobley being one of those guys. Like I don't want to see Evan Mobley taking fallaways. I want to see him doing all the other things. I want to see him taking threes. I want to see him taking people off the bounce. But he seems insistent on taking this like 12-foot spinning fadeaway. He doesn't need to have in his bag. He's too athletically gifted to not just go straight to the rim. So other than the free throws, one thing I was going to say, and then I'll let you go, Skylar, that you can't blame on anybody else is the rebounding disparity. And you can't blame that on the lack of depth or anything because they had all of their big men available. There's no reason that they shouldn't have been able to compete on the boards of the Knicks, and they lost that 48-32. They're minus 16 in rebounds, and it was really bad in the first half. And you get the other team shoots twice as many free throws and then out rebounds you by 16. Just knowing those two things, you're probably not winning the game.
I would agree. Nothing drives me up the wall quicker than missing free throws. Like I understand few will get missed, but when you finish the game at 66%, when you're only getting there 18 times, like that's rough. You should be getting there 20, 25, somewhere in that range because you have the size on this team. You have the muscle on this team. And as far as the the rebounds, if I had to point a finger, I think my biggest finger pointing is at Jared Allen, who is non-existent in this game. 4 rebounds, 4 points. That's not enough for Jared Allen. When Larry Nance Jr. is out rebounding you, that there's something that like you gotta stay a starter. And I'm not saying he's at the risk of losing a job, but we saw last year where they weren't putting Jared Allen in close fourth quarter games. And you don't want to see that for a guy that you're spending $20 million on.
Especially when the Knicks' best rebounder isn't playing in Mitchell Robinson, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't know, Zach, you have anything else that you dislike the most, or did I hit the ones you were on?
Well, I mean, I'll react to a couple of the things that you said. For starters, I have no complaints about the free throw disparity. Yes, there are a couple of calls that could have been made. Absolutely, there always is going to be. But
you're fine with Jalen Brunson acting like he gets shot 70 times a game.
No, Jalen Brunson is one of the people I enjoy least watching play a basketball game. I'm saying the lack of free throws for the Cavs, I don't think was on the refs. I think it was on their lack of aggressiveness going to the basket.
Yep.
I would agree on that.
I blame the Cavs for that. I don't blame the refs for that. Make them blow the whistle. You can't just live on the perimeter and expect to shoot free throws. That's not how it's going to go, especially when you're on the road in the Garden. Like that's not a thing. So I have less issue on that in terms of the officiating is concerned. My issue with that is that there was a lack of aggressiveness that didn't get you to the line.
Fair enough.
Good point on that is that the Cavs only had 2 more personal fouls than New York. So they're not getting shooting fouls. They're not doing the aggressive fouls to get to the line. It was on the floor stuff. So agree with you that it's on the Cavs' aggressiveness, not getting to the line.
Yeah, and even though they didn't have Mitchell Robinson, which would have been a disaster. The thing about the Cavs against the Knicks is you see, like the way you put it, they have the size against the Knicks. I would argue that they don't. I don't think the Cavs actually have size. I think the Cavs have length, but I think they are. I mean, watching Evan Mobley behind Cat, who's trying to back him down, and you can literally see Cat is literally twice his girth. And it's just like, oh, this is why the Knicks bully them. I remember now, and I think that's a little bit of a misconception about the Cavs. They, especially on like the national broadcast, they're like in between 2 7-footers. And well, first of all, Jared Allen's like 6'9". He has tall hair, but they're long. They are long and they can have the tools to be disruptive. And they weren't very disruptive, and they're always getting beat on down low against teams like the Knicks, who even their like backup bigs aren't as tall, but they're big and active. And that's just sort of not what goes well, generally speaking, for Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen in a matchup, on the boards.
Fair, but I would argue that not meant so much for Evan Mobley, but for Jarrett Allen, like that's why you're in the league, dude.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not saying that it's an excuse that they should, but it shouldn't come as a shock that like, oh, these guys are going to have strength on me, but I need to figure out a way to get after the ball. Yeah, use the length. The part that you do have, an advantage on. But I do, it does sometimes when I hear people refer to the Cavs as like, look at all this size that they have. And it's like, length, not necessarily, they're not bullying anybody.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Like that you got to use the tools in your toolbox. But particularly around Jarrett Allen, like if you are a center, you don't have a 3-point jumper, you don't really have a mid-range jumper, you are under the cup.
No, he's just got to use his motor.
That is a Jarrett Allen job, is to battle and fight for rebounds.
Yeah. They have to get after it. They have to be aggressive. They have to force the issue to get to the basketball, and that's where they become passive at times.
And especially right now, because the beautiful offensive system we saw last year just isn't going to happen as consistently without all your horses, right? If Garland's going to be out for at least a little bit, Schuster's going to be out for a while. Don't know what the DeAndre Hunter situation is. Maybe he'll be back this weekend, maybe not. But they're going to have to win. They're going to have to do more winning things outside of just having the best offense in the league, because they might not have the best offense in the league, at least for the first few weeks of the season. So yeah, that's kind of why, even though we actually haven't highlighted him yet, and I didn't love his game tonight, but that's why I was so high on Jalen Tyson, because I think he's the most likely guy on this team that will do a lot of that dirty work that the Cavs will need when they're not shooting 50% from three and when they're not scoring 130 points a game. Whether it's him or somebody else or a collection of people, they're going to have to get, contributions from some of those other areas if they're going to score more like 111 points like they did tonight. That's NBA average nowadays.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's going to sound like sorry, I'm taking over your podcast.
Go ahead.
No, take it over, guest.
Welcome to my show.
Well, your last name is NBA. We'll just cook. Let it go. Go ahead.
Lucky parents.
They called it. They thought I was going to be taller. Truthfully. No, I mean, it's going to sound like we're talking about this team like they're about to be in the lottery and we hate this team.
No.
But like when you're reacting to a game, especially a game that looked like that one, like it's hard to find a lot to be super upbeat about. And, but I think we are far from seeing what this team is actually capable of. I think that this team has a higher ceiling than it even had last year. I think it has a lower floor, but I think it's got a higher ceiling. Yeah. And if things go well and things click, then they could do some special things. Yeah, and that's what we want for them. It's coming from a place of love, guys.
No. I think you're 100% right. That I think, and Skylar and I highlighted this on the preseason episode on the season preview episode on Sunday. They have more across the board depth. Like they can play different styles this year. When everyone's healthy, I agree that especially the playoff ceiling is even higher. But I do agree the floor is lower because they have a lot of injury prone guys on the team. We already have 3 very important guys out right now, and that's not including, Lonzo Ball is healthy right now. Larry Nance Jr. is healthy right now. Guys that have missed a lot of time, Dean Wade being another one. And so like, I do a lot of like I think I would have freaked out more last year to a loss like this, but like I think the whole thing is just doing what you can in the regular season to make sure you have a top, 2, 3 seed, whatever, and being whole for the playoffs because the floor is like things go wrong for this team and everything went right until the playoffs last year for this team. They were incredibly healthy for the most part. And you just never know if you're going to get that luck 2 seasons in a row. There's a version of this team where Craig Porter Jr. is starting because everybody else is out. And after tonight, as much as I love CPJ, I don't think that would be a great thing for the Cavs.
Played 6 minutes, which is how long you were supposed to give me. Sorry, you can have your podcast back.
No.
Well, Zach, thank you for hopping on. Thank you for reviewing this game with us. Stick with us throughout the season. We'll probably have you on, or not even probably, we will have you on throughout the season. But thank you for being a good friend, good fan of the show, and appreciate everything that you do to help us both on screen and off screen.
And thank your parents for giving you the last name MBA. That's awesome.
Thanks, guys.
See you, bud.
See you, Zach. All right, so Kevin, let's turn the page. Let's look ahead to the next game against the Nets, who stink. I mean, their lineup is not good. They're intentionally not good.
They're in the running for worst team in the NBA this year. Like last year, they tried to be bad, and they had a bunch of these like role player, like really solid role players that all came together, and they're surprisingly good. They're in the playoff picture for a lot of the year. And so they're like, this year, we're going to really tear it down and make sure that we're as bad as possible or play. I was briefly, I didn't watch any of it, but I was briefly looking at their stats from tonight, and they shot 44% from the floor. They have some chuckers on that team. They have guys that, I'll just, as we're turning the page, there is not a better situation to get right than to be playing the Nets here in a couple of days.
Yeah, you kind of wish these games were flip-flopped. I mean, even with counting DeAndre Hunter out, who may or may not be back, there's no timeline on that. They're predicting an 80% Cavs victory on that. Yeah. So that's with a fully healthy Brooklyn Nets and missing Darius Garland, DeAndre Hunter, and Max Strus. They're still giving it heavily to the Cavs.
It's wild that they're fully healthy because I'm looking at the guys who played tonight. I was like, who's out on this team that these guys are getting minutes? But it's nobody. You're right. They're all there. They're all healthy.
So you hope to correct some of the mistakes. I hope that the offensive flow that we talked about doesn't linger into, like obviously they're missing Darius Garland, but you hope that isn't a sore spot in the Cavs season until Garland gets back. You hope they can muster up a way to correct that for sure. And I'm sure Kenny is going to have these guys at least on the rebound piece, I would say, working on. I doubt he has them working on the free throws because he didn't do it at all last year. They were one of the worst teams to get to the line last year. And when they got there, they were not one of the best ones at the line. So,
yeah, I mean, I think I agree with everything Zach said. I do think Donovan Mitchell deserved a few more free throws. I thought he attacked the basket, especially in the second half, pretty well. I mean, he shot 16 2-pointers, and I thought he got hit pretty good on a few of them. But you're right, to only get there 18 times, and kind of honestly, some of the wrong guys are getting there. Like, I mean, Evan Mobley was 2 for 5, Jared Allen was 2 for 4. So you would like to see, Donovan Mitchell getting there a lot when Darius Garland's back, him getting there a lot, Sam Merrill getting the line a lot, although it's not really his game. But yeah, the free throw thing is something they're going to have to figure out, because I could see it where that's a disparity more games than not, both how many times you get to the line and how well you shoot right now. And so that's a challenge that I think Kenny and the team have to figure out.
And obviously this is 1,000 yards ahead of my skis, but say they do match up with Oklahoma City. Let's say they get back to the finals. That's definitely going to be something to, A, you're going to have to battle against, but B, honestly have to employ into your offense to stay in the game.
Mhm.
They will just out hunt you on the free throws, get your guys in foul trouble, have to put in other people that probably aren't the highest offensive performers.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing for the Cavs right now, I think they just need to figure out their lineups. You could tell for an opening night for a team coming off, the number one seed in the East, seems to be a lot of experimenting going on with some of the lineups, and some of that's due to, we said 3 of your top 6 guys are out. But I think they need to figure out the lineups, who plays well together, the rotations and stuff, because even tonight I commented on the playback thing. Kenny was very disciplined last year in playing guys like rotation minutes, like Donovan Mitchell. I could have told you every time Donovan Mitchell, he's going to come out halfway through the third quarter. He's going to come back in for the last couple of minutes. He'll come out again in the middle of the fourth quarter for 2 to 3 minutes and then go back in. Right. Tonight, it seemed almost more like playoff substitution, where you were playing, the strategy to try and maximize things for that game, that quarter, whatever. Whereas his whole thing last year was, we're just going to be consistent and win with our consistency. And so I think they need to figure out, what are the lineups? Who are the guys that play well together that are going to give them consistently good offense? Because I even get on 119, I don't think the defense was much of a problem tonight. 31 of those points came from the line. I thought the defense was actually decent enough. They lost the game tonight on the offensive end.
No doubt. And we'll see how I definitely think they corrected going to the Nets. I also think, like we said, the Nets are not a good team. They are in the lottery. And rightfully so. They're trying to rebuild, and God knows, Cavs fans, we've lived through a lot of rebuild years.
Yeah. Right.
So I know the books aren't out on it, but I wanted to go ahead and give kind of what I'm going to be betting tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm going to go over on whatever the Larry Nance rebounds are. I think he showed tonight, getting 6 against the Knicks, coming off the bench. That's pretty good. I think he's going to get whatever he wants tomorrow Friday against the Nets.
I'll tell you, I mean, there's going to be lots of good bets. And again, we don't have the bets in front of us, but if you want one thing to look for, these first few weeks, especially before Darius Garland comes back, and maybe even after that, anytime they're giving you plus money on Sam Merrill to score 10 points or more, this guy, he played 28 and a half minutes tonight. He's going to play 25 plus minutes, and they're going to really need his shooting and everything. So I think tonight, for him to score in double figures, I believe was plus 150, which he had that in the third quarter. That's just a bet I would consistently look for with the Cavs, because they're really going to need his scoring here, especially the first part of the year and maybe for the whole season.
Yeah, I'm definitely for the whole season. And like I said, he's always going to be tied to the contract and the speculation. So that he's trying to play what the Cavs see in him.
Yeah. And he was really good tonight. He was really he was one of the bright spots offensively. I thought he looked really good. And honestly, if there was any concern with Sam Merrill, is the fact that they seem to be leaning on him too much. I was like, I don't know if we need to lean on Sam quite this much.
Yeah. So I think anything else you got before we head out of here?
No, I mean, I think the one thing, and I'll let you take it from here, is just kind of reminding people of the new formats, because obviously there's a couple of games coming up this weekend, and us, kind of transitioning from post-game podcast to more of a bi-weekly, kind of concentrating on the live and trying to get engagement from people. So, with that, I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Kevin said, if you missed our last episode, we're rolling out this season. Instead of being live after every game, we're going to go to a bi-weekly model, avoid burnout, stay consistent, and have a little more stuff to talk about, and just staying engaged with everybody and everything, not facing a lot of the adversity that we faced last year, especially in West Coast games when we were going live at 1 a.m.
No, thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. So In addition to this year, we are partnering with Playback. We'll be broadcasting the games live on our Playback channel, as well as hopping on and broadcasting our show on Playback. So hop on Playback, interact with us. We have some NBA league passes to hand out. So
Yeah,
hop on over here and be a part of that.
for sure. We're gonna have every Cavs game on our channel. We have NFL Red Zone for any of you that don't have it that would like that. And some of the games or some of the portions of the games, we will hop on the stage. We'll happily and kind of talk during the game. If you're in the chat and you want to come up and talk with us and kind of play podcaster or announcer or whatever, just act like you're in a virtual sports bar, do all that stuff. It would be great. I always put in the chat the game's on. We'll be live, or we'll join the stage in the third quarter, stuff like that, just so you know. But even if we're not on the stage, you can happily enjoy the game and interact through the chat with whoever else happens to be in the room.
Excellent. So for that, follow us online, on Blue Sky, on X, on Facebook. We're the Block the Shot the Stop. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're also broadcasting live over there, and catch up on old episodes over there as well. So, and please subscribe to the free audio version of this podcast anywhere you get podcasts. We're on all of them. It helps out a lot. Give us any feedback that you have. We're just Cavs fans trying to make a great show for other Cavs fans. So for that, he's Kevin. I'm Skylar. And as always,
go Cavs.